The Whine and Cheese Show is a Metaverse and NFT discussion and interview series brought to you by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and host BEN68 and Morecheese. Warning: the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved and contains content not suitable for anyone.
One is a wanker, one's slinging stunts, one's from Australia, one's from the Bronx.
Snack size.
How about this last article? Tourism and the Metaverse towards a widespread use of virtual travel.
That's amazing. And I'll tell you
playing
why.
Games. Yep, go.
Like I personally like to go myself to places, but people like my dad will never get into a plane. Like people who have a big fear of it, or just physically can't because they have so many allergies that they just can't be near people who really, because humans suck, don't give a crap about them. So something like this can bring them there. It's not going to be the same thing, of course, but it'll be the next best thing, and I'm for it.
Yeah,
I'm with you 100%.
I was listening to the radio on the way to work the other day, and someone was talking about, they were talking to somebody that just came back on holidays from Italy or something. They're like, "Oh, how was the trip?" And they're like, "Oh, it was fantastic, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, it was awesome. I'd love to go back again, except that we got mugged and we had all our passports and everything stolen when we were on the train."
Yeah, you never take the trains in Italy. Never. You don't have to. Everything is close together.
Yeah, just a little snag. We had to deal with the embassy and getting emergency passports, and
that happened to my aunt. I told her don't go to the train, and she went into the train, and they're good. They're really good at it. They took her wallet. She was even trying to be careful. I'm like, shoot.
Oh, the pickpockets, yeah, but this was just a straight up mugging, apparently, by the sound.
Oh, really? They just didn't waste time. They were just like, give it to me.
More efficient that way.
Yeah, absolutely. When I read this article, is this Total Recall?
Basically.
Is this the plot of Total Recall coming to life?
Well,
I would love something like Total Recall.
Ooh, I don't know. False memories are dangerous.
Because like this is a really uncomfortable, heavy headset being put on you.
You just want that big implant up your nose.
Yeah,
no. I'm apprehensive of false memories. Yeah, a virtual experience could be fun, but I don't know. Yeah, Total Recall is a great movie, but man, I don't know.
So it says, although tourism in the metaverse will not be able to replace outdoor experiences, it can be used to promote sites that are not easily accessible or are ignored by tourists who can discover them virtually. What's this going to do to economies that rely heavily on tourism?
They're going to have to evolve. Like basically, you're all right. So you're going to go there. They're going to create these tourist VR things. Like they can have real tourism, and then they could create this. Like what if let's say, for example, somebody in Dubai, they're losing money because not a lot of people are going there. There's COVID, there's something, one thing or another. So let's say they create this beautiful tour of their country, and they put it together and it's perfect, and they're walking with you and they're talking to you. Like they can evolve in that way where they go to virtual travel tourism, and it might even be cheaper for them.
Yeah, I know the Gold Coast, Australia, where I'm from, is heavily, it's a massively tourist-based economy, and it took a huge hit during COVID. So many businesses folded and that sort of thing. I just wondered, like, if say it's like a monument or some kind of special place, if I've already been there virtually and I've seen it, I've walked around it, I've done everything that there is to do, am I really going to be bothered to then go and do it in real life, or am I just going to check that box and move on?
It depends on how good the tour was, I guess. How close you were, like how real it felt. And this is a meta venture if you think about it. This can be done right now, people. Like,
and there we go. Look, there's
do you want to have a meta venture, a Web3, create something like this? Where do you live? Do you live in Disney World? Are you going there? Like, all you have to do is kind of like set up a little thing and sell it as a computerized tour for someone's headset, right?
They, it's funny you mentioned that with Disney World. They actually already kind of have something sort of like that. My daughter plays it. It's Disneyland, but it's an entirely virtual Disneyland. You set up your little person, and you go through, and it has all the people in costumes like you'd expect. There's also a whole big crowd. You can ride the rides. You can play the games. It is literally a virtual experience of Disneyland.
There you go. I'm going to look for it and see if I do it right now.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
I love that. I love stuff like that.
Cool. And this is the question that we just asked ourselves: can tourism and technology work together?
Yeah.
So yeah, it mentions that they've gone hand in hand for a long time. Like, you book everything online now. You're not on the phone and trying to haggle for prices and that. It's all online. There's so many different sites where you can get the best deals and that sort of stuff. So the metaverse is just part of this evolution of the internet. So.
And who comes to my mind when I think about stuff like this? Metaverse or Buck?
Yeah, I was going to say the same
right
thing. Yep,
I think
absolutely.
He would do extremely well in something like this.
Yeah, and even potentially the real node LA, what they're trying to set up as well with
definitely
that sort of stuff. So yeah, and you're right, Cheese is always banging on about this. If you're somebody who's interested in setting up a Metaverse, don't wait for Upland to make that available for you. Make it happen yourself. Yeah.
You got to take these ideas and make them your own.
Yeah.
If you wait until the function is there, then like you're too far behind. There's going to be a dozen people ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Because we've all been spending a year going, hey, I wonder what if that happens? Can we get something ready for that? We can try. I mean, I suppose we still talk about cafes. I don't know what cafes are going to ever end up being, but people have been planning for them forever.
Absolutely. Now here it says, in France, we find one of the most successful projects with Morecheeese, a virtual tourism realm, including a tourist office, museums, an airport, and a historical center where inhabitants and tourists can move around virtually via their avatars. And then the next subheading says, using the metaverse to inspire travel. So there you go. That's the other point we're touching on. There are two main trends defining the tourism experience. The first is related to the process, with the transformation of the world into knowledge. The second is about the moment, with a focus on hedonism and feelings of success.
What the hell?
Wow.
Where did that come from?
It's like out of left field. The metaverse cannot replace physical travel. Yes, but it can create the desire to travel. Okay. I get what they're saying.
I think... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead, Scoop.
I think that this kind of technology and these kind of implementations of it are going to just end up being complementary. They're not going to really like take away from any of the existing tourism things they got going on. They're going to be substitutes for people that are not physically able, for whatever reason, to do the real thing, and they're going to be incentivizing and like basically advertising for the people who could.
Yes. It was on this show, I don't know when it was, a few episodes back, Cheese and I were talking about something. I think it might have been when we're talking about working in the metaverse. And, whenever you see a space-based movie where people are on these spaceships for extended periods of time, they're always in that classic example. There's a screen behind them that they're looking at, and it's forests and nature and that sort of stuff. And then they push a button and it's the thing. Well, maybe this will be a situation where, sure, you might still have your in real life job, but when you're on your lunch break, you're engaged in wherever you want to go on holidays. You want to go to Hawaii on the beach. You're tapping into that metaverse, and that essentially builds your enthusiasm for the real travel that's coming up. So
true, because let me say right now, the only reason why I ever wanted to go to Boston was because I played Fallout 4, and I've been to actual places that they made of Boston, and I wanted to see them in real life.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because it also works both ways. Because I live in West Virginia, I've lived here my whole life. That's the only reason I got Fallout 76. I was like, well, I gotta see how they did my state.
Exactly. Yeah.
They did pretty good. They did pretty good. I gotta be honest. They did pretty. They've got a few things, but you're not gonna fit a whole state into a game. But they got some of the big stuff I was really hoping for.
You know what? That reminds me of when I first moved to Japan. I lived with a Canadian guy, Brian, and we were really good close mates. And we would organize our travel. We used to go on these day trips all around Japan, like whichever direction we could go, we'd work out where we could go for a day. And how we would find those, that we would just go to Google Earth and just find something that looked really cool. And then we would backtrack, okay, where's the nearest train station to that? How do we get from there to there? So yeah, there is definitely something there now that you say that.
Right on.
Interesting. So yeah, if we could dive into that a bit more deep, that would be awesome. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor.
Empire, samurai, ride on a dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Evil empire, samurai, ride on a dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife. Flying through the sky, evil empire, samurai, riding on a dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. Evil empire, samurai, riding on a dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky.